If you were present at the July meeting of the John Cracknell Youth Enterprise Bank, you'd have heard very welcome contributions from South Africa. Selebogo Molefe, known as Lebo, is a social activist with a passion for people that's helped him connect with some of the greatest young minds in Africa. He set up THUD, the Hookup Dinner, a networking community of entrepreneurs who contribute to each other's success. They're active in 13 cities and 6 countries with a network of over 89,000 entrepreneurs. Through contacts with Hull's Youth Enterprise Manager Charles Cracknell and the Youth Bank, they've developed strong ties with Hull. So, on a link to Johannesburg, I asked Lebo to tell me more about their work.
I work in the space of entrepreneurship development, and we build communities of entrepreneurs. And the reason for that is the average small business owner does not have a network or a strong network that they can rely on. This is for multiple reasons. Some of them are for validating their ideas. Some of them are for handling their mental health. You just need a community of people that you can bounce off ideas with and that can assist you when you're going through trouble, but also more importantly for opportunities. So it's easier to get business when you know other people who can refer you to other people who happen to be your customers, but you might not have access to them directly, So that has become an important thing. And in the way that we've built our movement in South Africa, in the first half of 5 years, this is our 8th year, we focused on building the entrepreneurship culture on the ground to make sure that people are aware that they can start enterprises and do things for themselves. And then follow on to that, we've gone on to focus on crowdfunding. We've set up a company called the People's Fund, which is a collaboration between different entities. And we've just done over 100 million rands in revenue. That's about close to 5 million pounds, British pounds. So that as well has been a collaboration of small businesses and small business owners that are servicing other small business owners. So we realized that a lot of small enterprises were struggling with the traditional model of applying for funding to finance purchase orders, and we could do something about it. So we tried to remove the red tape and just keep it clean and simple. As long as the purchase order is reliable and we could vet it, part of our due diligence was to make sure that we could check who the suppliers are, who the customers are, and if all of those things check out, we can assist the entrepreneur. They don't even need a business plan. They don't need financials. We just need to know we need their 12 months bank statement, and this enables us to see how transactions have happened in the past. So we're really trying to remove some of the red tape that exists in the system in the same way that we have found blockages for ourselves. And now we have started a new thing. We're doing community capital again. It's a crowdfunding initiative, and we are going to be buying into franchises. We've raised just over 1 million rands, South African rands now. And the target is to get a group of 100 people that are each contributing 15,000 rand, and that makes it up to 1.5 million rand. And then we take that money and buy into a franchise, and then it's shared. The revenue is shared equally amongst the 100 members for the next 5 years. So the dream really is to help the average guy who would not have access to resources and capital to participate in the mainstream economy in some form or the other.
So how wide a geographic area do you cover?
We cover the whole of South Africa. South Africa's got a population of close to 60 million. And because we started by building networks on the ground, we have the fortune of being able to tap into different cities and have collaborators on the ground. I mean, we're in about 14 countries as a movement. And even in Hull City, THUD Yorkshire, that was adopted by Charles and company. So there's that beauty that we don't need physical infrastructure to be in a particular city, but we need people. So we've built very strong networks. We've also built relationships with municipalities, with companies, multinationals that can help us to spread across different cities and towns, even in rural areas.
And how have you been impacted by coronavirus?
It's crazy. We had to pivot. So on the funding business, it's been our best year ever. I mean, majority of the money that we've made over the 3 years, we made it this year because there's needs and entrepreneurs who are getting these orders for supplies of PPE and stuff have had to come to us for funding, which has been a really a blessing for us that we could participate in helping that flow. On the entrepreneurship development side, a lot of the work that we do is physical and it's been on the ground. So we've had to stop. Our clients have canceled our orders and stuff, and we were forced to pivot. One of our pivots was to get into crowdfunding, into buying franchises and stuff. So that has showed us that there's no shortage of money, but there's a shortage of great ideas. And this happens to be one of those great ideas that has come out, that, look, we can still support small businesses, we can still participate in the economy, and we can do something really amazing collectively. So we've decided to tap into that, into cooperative economics, into community capital, and into making sure that everybody who's got something to contribute, they can. And the beauty here is that when you buy one food franchise in South Africa, you can create 13 jobs from get-go. You have to employ about 13 people that will be working in this. And so the big search for us has been to focus on the right location, to understand online ordering, and to choose the right brands, the right franchise brands that are actually in demand. So we don't go for high end because people can't afford that right now in the Corona season, but to target brands that understand their customers and to look at their financials. So we've been doing a lot of interviews with franchisees, and the franchisees that we've been talking to are doing really great. And it's got a lot to do with customized products and services that suit the market that we serve as well on our side.
But potential crowdfunding investors will see it as a risky business, won't they? Because look at the statistics of small businesses and how long they last, how quickly they fail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the risks are always there. And this is why we've gone the franchising route for us, because it's a de-risk model to a great extent. It's a proven business in the marketplace. And we've seen quite a few franchise brands fall as well. So there is a real risk in the marketplace. And when we went in to do our research and to speak to funders and everybody else, we realized that the businesses that are suffering in this COVID era are businesses that were not doing great pre-COVID.
Yeah.
COVID just happened to fast track those things. So a big part of our due diligence right now has been to make sure that we're engaging companies that have got a solid history, that have gone through a few crisis periods and have come out really quite solid. And it just tells you to the basics, the fundamentals of running a business. If you're a rigid business that works in one way and you're not willing to pivot or adapt when there's different market conditions on the table, you will not make it. So we chose food because people are constantly buying food, and we looked at even our own behaviors as entrepreneurs. How do we buy food? Where do we buy food from? Is this something that is viable in the main? And we found that it is. And we're finding that the moment the lockdown periods have been set up, I think we're on level 3 right now. So there's still a lot of trading restrictions in the marketplace. But the businesses that are serving the right products to the marketplace are picking up. There's a curve that's just moving up, where it's showing that as long as the business has got an online capability to service its customers, then all things should be well. And the rest is about management of that business. Do you have the right people running it? And are they doing the right things in there? Are they being prudent in how they run their businesses? We've also seen it in our own business. That's the reason we've been able to survive in the main. We haven't retrenched any of our staff members. In our finance business, we're employing at least 2 new people every month since the beginning of March. So we're in about 16 employees in the funding business, and we've got about 10 employees now in the development business. And that just speaks to, there's always opportunity. Do people see it, and are customers willing to pay for it? And we're seeing that, that there's a demand of sorts there.
So how do you see the future? I take your point that, a good business is a good business pre-COVID or post-COVID, and will survive probably during it. How, if you gaze into your crystal ball, can you see us coming out of this to a bright new tomorrow?
Oh yes, there's always a silver lining. We unfortunately follow the media too much as people and get influenced with the wrong thinking a lot. And there's opportunities, and they are everywhere. And this pandemic is going to produce brand new millionaires and billionaires. And the question is, Are you on the side that sees opportunity, or on the side that just sees the chaos and the loss? I mean, there's real losses in the marketplace. There's many problems, and I always say that entrepreneurs thrive in chaos, because when you see problems, the question is, can you provide a solution? And if you're willing to provide a solution, the market will reward you. They will pay you. And I think one of the big opportunities that we often sleep on is around collaboration. You can't do everything by yourself, but when you involve other people in the vision, and you are prudent, you are ethical, you're very honest, and you're trustworthy, the market will reward you, because that on its own just provides sustainability. And when you can prove to your customers and to your stakeholders that you are ethical in what you're doing, you've got ethical conduct, and you are in it for the long term, and you're not here to get a quick buck, quite often the market is willing to reward you in a beautiful way, and you don't have to do it alone. Bring other people along the journey with you.
So let's just look at the links that Charles and you have forged. How important is that to you? Because it it seems strange to a newcomer to this relationship.
Yeah. Forging partnerships and relationships is everything, and it starts with people. And we have something beautiful, technology, the internet, that has bridged the gap. I don't have to fly to Hull City now to get to know people. We can conduct interviews online, we can engage quite robustly around ideas, and test and stress test our ideas, and share notes, share trade secrets as to what works in one region might not work in the other, and compare notes. It's a big, big thing. The way that we've built our relationship with Charles, it started off on Twitter. It was an introduction through another colleague, and to see us having visited Hull City a few times, and Charles and company having come through to South Africa a few times, tells us of how relationships build gradually over time. It's not an overnight thing. It takes time to build trust. It takes trust. It takes trust to transact. And once we got to that level, I mean, it's easy for Charles to say, "Look, we'd like to contribute to that campaign that you're running for a particular entrepreneur." They don't have to question twice or ask us, "Will you be using the money for other things, or what is happening?" And vice versa. If we have to come to Hull City, we don't have to worry that, are these strangers? What's going to happen to us when we get there? We know that we are home when we get there. So building trust and building networks internationally is everything. It is so critical, because it will give you insights into things that you're not even aware of, that you might not be able to get information about on your own. But now that you have friends in other places, it becomes easy to access information.
When I look at the prospects for employment in the UK, certainly, I would advise our young people that there's never been a better time to be self-employed.
Yeah. Even in South Africa is worse. Our unemployment rate for young people is just over 50%. So it's one of the worst in the world. In fact, we've got the highest Gini coefficient in the world, and that just speaks to inequality. We've got massive levels, gaps of inequality. So it's inequality, it's poverty, it's unemployment. Those are big, big, big issues in this country, but they also present beautiful opportunities for young people. I mean, Africa's greatest resource is its young people. We've got the youngest population in the world, and therefore there's so many things that can be done. And there is access. And I think we often focus so much on the negatives in every country that we look at, that we forget that there's so much positives just with having access to the internet, because the internet democratizes so many things. You are able to launch an online store for a minimal amount and push to your networks on social media and actually transact, provided you're providing the right solution. So all of that, even accessing skills that can help you to build up something, it's so much cheaper than it's ever been, ever in any time in history. So all of those things, for me, they present opportunities. And I constantly tell my daughters that what you are studying for now might not exist in the future, but because you have access to the internet, you can complement your skill set. You can learn new things. You can start selling now whilst you're in school, and you can get access to a massive audience that is global. So there's so much. Treat it as an internship. Treat the internet as your internship piece as to how can you adapt in an ever-evolving world. Everything is changing so fast around us that if you are not the type of person who's open to change, you're bound to crash. So don't look at unemployment as a curse anymore, but look at it as self-employment can be an opportunity, and the world, the global stage is the platform for you where you can sell anything to anybody as long as they speak the language that you speak. So I often tell people who are in South Africa, for instance, that when you standing in South Africa, which is at the south point of the world, when you look up, look 2 degrees this way and 2 hours this way, and as long as these people speak English all the way into Europe, those are your customers. And how can you service them? How can you sell them something that they need and actually transact on that basis? And I think there's opportunity from that basis.
Thank you ever so much for talking to me. And as we say now, stay safe.
Always. Thank you so much.